Disclaimer. The following is a video reviewing this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. This is a review of what is presented to us by the producers and nothing more. This is not commenting on who the queens are as people, as I do not know them personally. This is just about what we see on screen. Any hateful comments about or towards the queens will not be tolerated and will be removed. Oh, and also this will obviously contain spoilers about this week's episode, so don't watch it if you haven't yet seen it. With all that said, hope you enjoy this video. Yours truly, ElliXia. Hello cats and kittens, you're watching another Drag Race review with me, ElliXia Q Valentine. This week we are going to be talking about RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the World Season 1 Episode 4, aka Snatch Game, aka biggest load of robbery I've ever seen in my fucking life, aka the season finale because it finished with this episode. Right? That was the outcome that I saw. Yes. Fucking hell. This episode did not leave me feeling very satisfied, but we will get into that, of course. Before we do, I would like to just take this moment to say I am ElliXia Q Valentine. Links to all my social medias are in the description below. And as always, no spoilers in the comments, please, for any episodes that haven't yet aired. There's only 2 more episodes left after this one, so well done, you've done a really good job so far of not spoiling it in the comments. We haven't got long to go. As you may have noticed, today's look I'm going for a black cat look. The runway theme was Luck Be a Lady Tonight, and I thought, how can I twist that a little bit? Black cats are generally seen as a sign of bad luck. And I don't understand that either, because I love black cats. If I ever see a black cat, like, my day is blessed so much more. I'm also inspired by my friend Blair's cat, Edward. Big shout out to Blair and Edward. Edward is the sweetest angel I've ever seen in my life, and this look is an homage to him. And I'm also wearing black as well, in mourning for this episode's elimination. Very not impressed with the Thomas foolery that went down this week. I understand it. I understand the reason why, but I still was very annoyed. And why was I annoyed, you might ask? Well, let's find out. So episode 4 begins, as always, in the workroom just after the most recent elimination. I think the queens are all quite a bit shocked that Pangina eliminated Jimbo, who was one of the strongest competitors at that point. Pangina says it's because she believes Jujube had more potential, but Janie also chose to eliminate Jujube. And Bagger is not particularly happy with the outcome as well. Bagger was good friends with Jimbo and very much feels that Jimbo was robbed. Understandable, you know, a lot of fans were very miffed that Jimbo had gone as well. And looking at it, yeah, Jimbo didn't really deserve to go, even though I do maintain that Jimbo was the worst in the challenge last week. When you look at the queens overall, like, Jimbo should have been the one to stay. And again, similar to last week, it was another one of those sort of writing on the wall eliminations for me. Obviously, Bagger had feelings about Pangina's actions, and I thought, oh god, no, now Pangina has put a huge target on her back if she lands in the bottom 2. I said last week that I was team Pangina, and so this entire episode I was sort of like on edge thinking, oh god, this is going to be it, isn't it? But of course we will get onto that later on. So it's a new day in the workroom and the queens are given the challenge, Snatch Game. Snatch Game is a Drag Race staple. There has been one in every season except for season 1 and All Stars 1, but there's otherwise been a Snatch Game in every other season. And for the uninitiated, Snatch Game is a celebrity impersonation challenge based on the TV show Match Game, where the queens have to impersonate a celebrity and fill in the blanks in the way that the celebrity would. It's improvisational. Is that a word? Improvisational? Improvisational. It's improvising, and it's a comedy challenge as well. So they're not only looking for accuracy, but also how funny you are and how much you can make RuPaul, and the judges laugh. Snatch Game sounds intimidating for sure. They always put a lot of emphasis on Snatch Game. They say it's the one that separates the girls from the women, etc. And for some queens, it's like their defining moment on Drag Race as well. For better or worse, depending on how well they do. Like queens like Chad Michaels and Jinx Monsoon, it was their defining moment because they did so well. And then you have other queens where they didn't do so well, but I won't name names this time. I've actually taken part in a Snatch Game myself. Last November, Bally Singh hosted a Snatch Game on Drag Space UK on Twitter Spaces, and I was Jessie J for that one. And it was a lot of fun. I kind of just answered every question very obnoxiously and sang for a lot of it as well.
Continue with the game. Now, RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 3 is rumoured to have been filmed across 10 days, which is of course absurd. All the makeup, the challenges and blank would of course taken at least 11 days. Now let's go to Jessie J. What do you think?
Listen, okay, so I think it's about time, yeah, that we had some drag kings on the show. And RuPaul, I know you're watching this, mate, so get some drag kings on the show. You know I started as a drag king, right? Well, actually, no, I didn't. But I started with a song called Do It Like a Dude. So I said, they can do it like a brother, do it like a dude, grab my crotch when my head low like yo. Thank you very much, thank you. We also get the news that the Snatch Game format is going to be mixed up slightly, and this time it's sort of a Family Fortunes kind of affair. I believe it's Family Feud is the version in the US, but I think they are the same TV show in basic premise. So the queens are split into two families. You've got Michelle Visage's family, and you have guest Katie Price's family, the Pricey. Every time I see Katie Price, I always think of that time where she came for Emily Attack on that video. For fishy.
For fishy.
Amazing. In the walkthrough with RuPaul, Blue confides that she feels like she's fading into the background a little bit, which I said last week is quite a shame because Blue, I think, has generally done really well, even if she hasn't been acknowledged by the judges as such. She's been a very strong queen throughout the season so far. We also have Janie Jacquet talking about whether she wants to do Tan Mom or James Charles. To be completely honest with you, I don't really think either is a good choice. But well, it's too late for that now, isn't it? I don't really know anything about Tan Mom other than she, well, was excessively tanned and that she had a song. And then James Charles is a choice for various other reasons. Can't fucking stand James Charles, to be honest, but that's another conversation for another day. Also in the walkthrough, Mo Hart says she's going to do Gordon Ramsay, and I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed that she was talked out of it because it would have been, I just think it would have been amazing. Like if it was good, it would have been great. And if it was terrible, it would have been entertaining as hell. So I would have loved to have seen that like fully fleshed out, but alas, she changed her mind. So we get to the actual Snatch Game at hand. We have Team Katie Price, which features Bag of Chips as Kathy Bates, specifically Kathy Bates' character from Misery, Pangina Heels as Mariah Carey, and Jujube as Cher. Team Michelle Visage features Janie Jacquet as James Charles, Hydrangea as Mike Myers, and Mo Hart as Billy Porter. Made me laugh at the start of the Snatch Game when Rue did the "you ain't my mother" thing to Michelle Visage, because they never do it right. Every time it's referenced, they always do it wrong, because whoever says it back will be like, "Yes, I am," and it's like, no, it's "Yes, I am. You can't tell me what to do. You ain't my mother. Yes, I am." It's like that. It's not like, "Yes, I am." And it really irritates me every single time. Michelle and Rue, if you're watching this, because I know you're big fans of mine, just please bear that in mind for next time. I'll get into the Queen's individual Snatch Game performances alongside the runway. I'll do both at the same time. But I thought the Snatch Game overall was okay. There was no straight up bombing. You know, there was no one who was really bad, but there was also, it did make me laugh at points, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't the best Snatch Game I've seen. In the workroom after Snatch Game, we had this conversation about cancel culture, which rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, and I'm not really going to get into it, because to be honest, I've kind of forgotten it, and I haven't actually watched the episode back again. I watched it once and that was enough for me. There's a very, very cute moment in the workroom with Pangina and Jujube when Pangina gives Jujube that cat bag, which she's revealed on Twitter is called Fufu. That was the absolute cutest thing I've ever seen, and I would love, if someone did that for me, I would love that. So adorable. And so we're on the main stage. Rue looks nice as always, and this time we've got two guest judges. Instead of either Graham Norton or Alan Carl, we have Clara Anfo, who I think was a great judge. I really like Clara Anfo whenever I see her on TV. I think she's really good. She just has such a lovely sort of energy and presence around her. And then we also had Michelle Keegan as well, Coronation Street legend. Thought Michelle was a good judge as well. There's two Michelles in the panel, so there's that. And so we'll get into the Snatch Game performances and the runway at the same time. Up first, we have Blue Hydrangea. I thought Blue was very good in the Snatch Game. I definitely think she was a justified top two. If there was only one winner, I don't know whether I would give it to Blue or somebody else who we'll get to, but I think Blue did a really good job. I think changing characters as well, from Austin Powers to Dr. Evil, I thought that was really, really good, and I think she did both of them very well. I think her Dr. Evil was a lot funnier than her Austin Powers. And I thought it was clever because it was like a costume change, but she was still the same person, because technically still Mike Myers. Could you imagine if she had turned into Shrek after that? That would have been incredible. I thought Blue looked absolutely gorgeous on the runway as well. That green with the gingery auburn hair, I thought was absolutely lovely. She looked stunning. Absolutely stunning. Fully justified being in the top two this week. Up next we have Janie to Kay. Janie to me, unfortunately this week, was a little bit of a letdown. As I alluded to earlier, I feel that James Charles wasn't the best choice. Now this was filmed, I believe, in March 2021. So there are a lot of allegations about James Charles that have come out. I don't know whether this was sort of filmed before then or after, or whether, I'm not really sure. But it's unfortunate, I think. And even disregarding that, there's so many other things he's been in trouble for and, you know, caused controversy over during his career. So I think deciding to portray James Charles a little bit, having said that, if I was going to do James Charles, I would have done it a lot more. I would have really gone in, lead into that obnoxiousness that you know, he's quite irritating, to be honest. James, if you're watching this, I'm not sorry. I'll say it to your face. I don't care. Janie to me was definitely the weakest this week, which was a shame because I really, really like Janie to Kay. But I did think it was not so great. It did make me laugh. Was it Michelle Keegan who said she didn't know who James Charles was? And I was like, oh, you sweet soul. I'm so jealous. I thought Janie's runway was good though. She looked very nice, and I loved the big poker table. Not poker table, the roulette. Is it roulette? I don't really do casinos, so I don't know. My only real experience of casinos is the casino levels in Sonic games. I thought that was really good. The only criticism I had for it was I wouldn't have worn a pink dress with it. I don't think it necessarily went as well as it could have. If she had maybe worn green or red or even black with it to sort of match the board a bit better, it would have looked lovely. She still looked great though, and it was still very well put together. Up next we have Jujube, who Jujube at the start of the episode said she had like to really step it up, otherwise she wouldn't last. And I don't feel that she maybe stepped it up as much as she could have. Her share, that is a brave move in itself. We've seen Cher, I mean, so many drag queens do Cher. And of course on Drag Race we had the Cher doppelganger in the form of Chad Michaels, who did her for Snatch Game. And Chad Michaels really did Cher so well that it's like, unless you're confident you can do it better, then I would leave it. I thought Jujube's Cher was funny. It was kind of funny though to me for the wrong reasons. Like doing the whole like lip licking thing, and then like the whole thing that Cher, according to Chad Michaels, Cher never does that. But you know, sort of doing that, and then even when she's like, when Ru said, thought you didn't do that, she's like, no I don't, but still doing it anyway. And the charcuterie, Cher is short for charcuterie, I thought that was very funny. I don't think Jujube's a very funny person, just naturally, and I don't think she quite reached her potential. When you think back to Jujube's Eartha Kitt from All Stars 5, that was impeccable. And it's still quoted and memed to this day as well. Jujube's runway, I thought as well, was, once she explained it, and when she did the motion with the hand, I got it. But when she was walking the runway, I was like, what is that supposed to be? Like, it's just gold? What? And then when she did the hand motion, I thought, oh, it's the lucky cat. Right, I get it now. But there was sort of no correlation with the outfit and like the styling of it. So if she had done like some cat ears or had like, I don't know, maybe golden blondish sort of hair, it would have maybe made more sense. Up next is Mo Hart with her impersonation of Billy Porter. I thought she was really good as Billy Porter. I thought she nailed his sort of, well, his mannerisms and everything. I thought she was very funny, especially like the comment about, I host the gig. I thought she had the look down. And I also think Mo definitely deserves props for just effectively coming up with that on the spot, because Rue said to her, you know, you really like Billy Porter. And she was like, well, okay, I'll do Billy Porter. So I don't think she had like much preparation for it, and she was able to just do it like that. That's very impressive. And definitely a Snatch Game redemption for Mo as well, because back in season 10 she went home on Snatch Game as well. But I thought Mo did great this week, and her runway was incredible. When she walked out onto the runway, I thought, oh, she was great, she was amazing. And then when she did the light up trick as well, I was like, oh my God, that's even better. One thing I've really loved about Mo Hart this season is that she has really, really stepped her runway game up so much. You can tell she's improved it and she's worked at it, and she looks amazing. I think like almost every week she has had like the best runway, or one of the best runways, if not the best. And I'm really glad to see it. Up next, we have Bag of Chips. Now prepare yourself for this. I'm gonna say something that I haven't yet said on this channel. I actually liked what Bag of Chips did this week. I know, I'm just as shocked as you are. Except I'm not really shocked, because to be honest, I thought if there's going to be any challenge that Bag of Chips does well in, it's going to be Snatch Game. Firstly, I think it's great that she chose Kathy Bates from Misery, because that isn't a choice I would ever associate with Bagger. I would never think, oh yeah, Bagger's going to do that. I thought she was going to do somebody, you know, very camp, or, you know, very sort of someone from the Hun culture. So it's actually an inspired choice, I think, that she did it. And I think she did it really well, because she wasn't too much with it either. She was able to be really funny without being all sort of slapsticky or in your face about it. Like the way she was just able to sort of stare down RuPaul and like not break it at all. I especially loved the moment when she like went right up to Katie Price as well. I thought that was really, really funny. And you know, I'm not like the biggest fan of her from my previous videos, but credit where credit is due. I think she did really well this week, and she definitely earned her place in the top 2. Her runway, on the other hand, well, it couldn't all be positive, could it? Her runway looked a bit Halloween costumey to me, or a bit like, you know, St. Patrick's Day. It was very much English person doing St. Patrick's Day. I'm glad on the runway, actually, that they gave her the critique of being a bit robotic and, you know, defaulting to this on the runway. I'm glad that they sort of pulled her up on that, because it's true. But, you know, if I never say anything nice about her ever again, at least we've got this episode. And last but certainly not least, although least in terms of the elimination, I guess, but we have Pangina Heels as Mariah Carey. I thought Pangina was fine as Mariah. I thought the look was perfect. I had a feeling she was going to do Mariah, because on Drag Race Thailand, at one point when she was a judge, she did a Mariah look for one episode, and she has the look down perfectly. And at the start, she made Rue laugh as well, so I thought, oh, okay, this is good. This is a good sign. But alas, it didn't really, you know, go that way. I thought she was okay, but you could tell she wasn't going to do very well by the music that they were playing every time she answered. There's always the musical cues in there to indicate whether it's been well received or not. So I was nervous for Pangina once the Snatch Game got going. On the runway, I thought she did really, really well. I thought it was a great stunt to have the gold coins coming out. I loved that it said Casino Slag on it as well. I really enjoyed Pangina's runway this week. I thought it was very, very good. And it was very practical, because it gave her a place to rest her head when she got upset as well. So the queens get their critiques. We're at the point in the competition now where everyone's getting critiqued regardless of their position, so I think that's good. The top 2 are called out as Blue and Bagger, and if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom. So Janie, Jujube, Mo and Pangina are all suddenly up for elimination. I'm not a huge fan of this twist, because, you know, you have people who, they've done this in the past couple of All-Stars as well, and you have people who did well in the challenge but are now in the bottom 2 and could potentially go home, even though they did a good job. Now granted, that hasn't happened yet, because people still generally play it quite fairly, but you know what I mean? I'm not a huge fan of this. And you know, there's no way you could look at Mo this week and say she deserved to be the bottom. Absolutely not at all. I think Bagger said to her during the deliberations, you know, I think you're third this week. And I was like, yeah, no, she absolutely was. If there was anybody else who could have been in the top two, I think Mo would have absolutely been next in line. But we have our deliberations. It's quite lengthy because there's a lot to talk about. Realistically, I think the bottom two are Pangina and Janie, which is a shame because like they have been like my two favourites for this season so far. But you know, it's inevitable, isn't it? You know, we can't always have nice things. Queens deliberate, and we have the lip sync song, which is Let It Go by Alexandra Burke. That was a pleasant surprise as well, actually, to see Alexandra Burke on a lip sync song. We haven't had that before, so I enjoyed that. I thought Bagger made me laugh in the lip sync quite a lot, but not really for the right reasons. I thought she looks like somebody's aunt at like a staff Christmas party who probably pre-drank a little bit too much before they got there, which I think she would take as a compliment, to be fair. But it was a little bit messy, it was a little bit mess daily. Blue is called as the winner of the lip sync, and she wins a shiny gold repeater badge. I did enjoy that Blue sang the Britannia song when they told her that. I thought that was funny. And then of course we get to the moment of truth, which is who has Blue picked to send home. And you know, I said, didn't I, at the start, I had a very bad feeling that Pangina was going to go this week. And I've not read any spoilers at all, so I didn't know for definite that she was going to go. I just had this horrible feeling. And lo and behold, Blue pulls Pangina's lipstick, cementing Blue's place and Pangina's place in the most controversial elimination Hall of Fame. I have to say, I was really pissed off. I was really pissed off. I was watching it with my friend Sammy, and afterwards we were just sort of watching other TV after we finished it. We both just sort of sat there in silence, just like... In my notes for this week's episode, I just wrote bollocks. It's just a real shame because Pangina really did have the best track record out of all of them, and there's no shade to the other queens, of course, but she was kind of like streets ahead, and I understand the reasoning for eliminating her. I mean, we haven't found out what the reason is fully yet, but I understand, you know, she didn't do well in the challenge. She was one of the worst. I don't think she was the worst. I think Janie was worse than her, but she was, you know, she was fairly up for elimination. So it wasn't unfair. It just sucks. Do you know what I mean? Really, the queen who should have gone this week either should have been Janie or it should have been Jujube, because even though Jujube like didn't necessarily give like a bottom two worthy performance, Juju has been on borrowed time effectively now, and she hasn't really done well. The last two episodes prior to this, she was in the bottom two, and her performance this week, whilst it wasn't bad, I don't think it was enough to pull her up from the bottom two. So it would have been fair to send her home this week, I think. And honestly, part of me is just thinking, put her out of her misery. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it must be really horrible when you're in that kind of competition and you're always in the bottom, but you're still there, and it must be very hard to keep going. So I would have, you know, if it were up to me, I would have eliminated either Jujube or Janie based on the challenge and the track record. I would not have touched Pangina's lipstick at all. And all of this is made much worse because as soon as Pangina's name is called, she gets very upset, very emotional, very apologetic, and you know, she feels that she's brought shame to Thailand, which is really sad. And the way she was so upset and like, you know, hysterically sobbing as she walked off, and you could still hear her backstage, and the way that they lingered on it as well, I really didn't like that at all. I thought that was really just not appropriate. You know, I thought at one point, because they were lingering so much, that maybe Rue was going to say, no, come back, like, you've got another chance. It was just so horrible. And the fact that they showed, you know, that you could still hear her crying after Rue did the let's the music play thing, it was just really drawn out and uncomfortable as hell. And I really didn't like that. And I would say that for any of the queens, not just because Pangina was my favourite of the season, but I would say that for any of the queens. I'm reminded of All Stars 4 when Manila was eliminated as well. It just feels really shit. Maybe it makes good TV, I don't know, but it feels really rubbish that like clearly one of the best contenders has now gone. And genuinely, I don't know who I'm rooting for now. I like all of the queens who are left, don't get me wrong. If we're looking at track records as to who's gonna win, I don't know. I don't really know who deserves it. So I guess episode 5 will hopefully bring some of that to light and make some of the pieces fit together a bit more. Because right now it just feels like, who am I rooting for? I really don't know. I'm actually rooting for Fufu the cat. I'm team Fufu. Don't let me down, Fufu. We've now lost the 2 strongest contenders consecutively, and that really sucks. I'm not mad at Blue though. And I think it's very important that I'm critiquing a TV show, I'm not critiquing human beings and individuals. I've seen that Blue was getting a lot of hate. I've seen that Pangina was getting a lot of hate last week as well. And that's really not cool. So if you're watching this video and you're one of those people who is tagging queens in your negative, nasty ass comments, stop. Don't do it. Read a book, go outside, do some yoga, but don't send nasty comments to queens. It's just not worth it. That brings us to the end of another ElliXia's Drag Race reviews. I hope you've enjoyed. I have been ElliXia Q Valentine. Stay safe, stay lovely, and thank you very much for watching. And as always, please book me. Mwah. Fucking hell.